Hi guys, thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to be painting this ladybug using watercolors. I'm going to walk you through step by step everything you need to know to bring it from start to a finished piece like this one you see here. What you'll need to get started is some watercolor paper, a variety of brushes, as well as some black, blue, red, orange, and pink watercolor paints. So let's get started. So we're going to start with drawing just a circle. More like an oval, I should say. Doesn't have to be perfect. Nature isn't perfect. It has little imperfections and differences, so that's okay if yours looks a little uneven. And then we're gonna get started with, I'll call it the neck of the ladybug. I don't know what it's officially called, but we'll call it the neck. And then the ladybug, so we'll wrap up like this, and then we're gonna draw where the eyes go. So just like this. Little dome shape, and then we're going to have the black part go down like this, so we'll draw sort of a very loose bird shape, and then we'll erase the original oval line, and then we're going to have a line that goes down the center, followed by another sort of very light V shape here. And then we're going to draw the antenna, and some arms. If you have a picture of a ladybug on your screen or in front of you, you can use that as a reference photo as well. But the basic shape is here. So that's all you want. As for spots and where you want them, it's up to you how many you want to have. I'm going to do 3 per side. So we'll draw a spot here, spot here, here, and I'll mirror those. And then we're just going to draw some little white like little half moon shapes where the eyes are going to go. That's what we'll be keeping white. So with watercolors, it's important to always work from lightest to darkest. So we'll be starting with the red and moving around from there. So we'll start with laying down clear water. You don't need to worry about your spots for now because we're going to work over the red with the black, so there's no need to leave them empty. So we'll just fill the entire shell with clear water. Now, a lot of you are going to have different types of watercolor paints, tube paints, pan sets. They all work great. I prefer the tube paints because I find that they go a long way. You can get really nice colors, a lot of variety of colors. And I just put them in an ice cube tray and I let them dry out in between, so there's not a lot of waste with them. So they work great for me. So I'll put some red on my brush and we're just going to follow along the perimeter of the ladybug. And you want quite a bit of color here so that it blends around nicely. And we're going to help it by moving the brush around too, but having quite a bit of color, it gives you that flexibility to move the color inwards. With watercolor, sometimes there's a tendency to grab too much color, but with a piece like this, you want it to be quite a vivid red, so you don't have to work too much unless you're adding globs of paint to the picture. So this is, because we're doing this ladybug in a very loose style, this is the time where you would generally want to pull some paint out of the ladybug. So that loose style is where the paint kind of runs and drips and bleeds all over. So that's what we're going to do now. So now that we've got quite a bit of red down, we're going to take a clear brush. And what you're going to do is put the water outwards, so farther away from the ladybug. And then you're going to gradually bring it closer and closer until it touches the center of the ladybug, and as soon as it touches, it'll start to explode out and bleed outwards. So we're going to do that here as well. Don't worry about the legs, we'll be going over them. And just kind of moving your way around so that you have little touches like that where it sort of bleeds off the page. I'm going to do one up here as well. So I just put it farther away first and then let it grab. So that's all I'm doing for that part. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of pink and orange to the center just to keep things a little interesting. And we're gonna end up doing a second coat on this part, so not to worry if it's drying quite a bit light. Watercolor always dries lighter. So that's about all you wanna have for your first coat. Nothing too dark. And what we're gonna do is let this dry fully. Then we're gonna come back and add the second layer on top. So you can use a blow dryer to speed up the process if you like. Okay, so now that the shell has had time to dry, we're gonna go ahead and add a second coat. So that's following the same pattern as you did with the first. You're just gonna put clear water all over it. It's okay to do it quite thin for this coat, as we're wanting to have the red follow more of the outside and leave it a little bit lighter on the inside. So the way we achieve that is by putting clear water everywhere. And then we take some red and we're gonna go quite dark in some spots on the outside. So like up here, I'm gonna go quite dark. Go quite dark here. I'm going to take a little bit of pink and just move it in here. And if it's not bleeding at all, it's drying too fast, you can add a little bit of water on top and then just lift your page up and let it bleed in like that. Depends on the type of paper. I have quite a rough textured paper here, so it doesn't bleed as much as it will in a smoother paper. So that's all you're wanting to do for that coat. And then you're wanting to let it dry again. So there's a lot of dry time with this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and blow dry it. And then when I come back, we're gonna work on the head and arms. Okay, so the body's had time to dry for the most part. So we're gonna go ahead and add the head now. So the head is done much the same as the body. We're gonna add clear water first. This is why it's so important to make sure your layers are dry in between, because if this red wasn't dry and I put the clear water next to it, it would of course bleed into the head. So we're gonna leave these little eyes, little half moons, crescent moons, we're gonna leave them white. So just make sure not to put clear water on top of those. But other than that, you can fill it all in. And then we're gonna add a little bit of blue into the center. So just adding some blue here. And then we're going to take some black. And if you don't have blue on your palette, it's okay to just go straight to the black. I just find that the blue adds a little something, a little bit of dimension in the Ladybug. So we're getting quite saturated black here for this. It's going to continue to dry lighter, as watercolor always does. So you're going to find that you're going to need to keep adding it. So I rub the brush in the black quite a bit so that it's quite saturated. We're gonna move to the antenna and legs now while the head is drying. So basically, you can use a fine brush or the tip of an angled brush. I choose to use the angled brush a lot because I find it very versatile to move from one thing to the next. But this is a great time to grab a small brush to do these. So it's okay if they're not nice and even, kind of having them a little bit off kilter, a little bit different thickness, that works well for a painting like this. So we're gonna move around and just do all of the legs. Now while these are wet, it's a really good time to add a little bit of splatters around. So we're going to finish up all the black spots and then we're going to add some splatters around this piece. So for the line down the middle, don't make it go all the way, have it kind of jump off the page a little bit so that it's not a perfect line all the way down. So we're going to do some black circles, and once we're done the black circles, we'll do those splatters that I was talking about. And the splatters are going to help break up some of the sort of perfect lines that we have everywhere. So just kind of quickly moving your way around. You want these dots to stay wet for quite a while, so. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take clear water, a mix of red, gray, and clear water, and use a flat brush like this. And what we're going to do is add some clear water on top. And what happens is if it hits an area where the paint is still wet, it's going to bleed out. So we're going to go like that all the way around. It's not going to always hit a wet part, but that's okay because we can take a little bit of black and then add some more splatters. And then maybe I'll do a little bit of red splatters in and around the body. And then once I have some of those down, we can add some clear ones over top. So I'm just adding quite a bit because they'll start to bleed into each other all over. And different amounts of water result in different size splatters. So you can see I'm using quite a bit, that's okay. And then if there's any that you don't like, you can use a paper towel. I have one sitting here. You can use a paper towel, and what you do is if you don't like one, you just kind of dab it up. I like quite a bit with this piece, so I'm okay. I'm dabbing up some of the clear water that's not doing anything, just to help it dry faster, but I like the amount I have here. So once this fully dries, I'll add a little bit of detailing in here with a white gouache or a white pen. But all in all, I think this looks really great. So I'm going to sign it. So that's it for this painting. If you enjoyed painting along with me, be sure to like the video and hit subscribe if you're interested in seeing more videos like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know in the comments if there's anything else you'd like me to paint for you. Have a great day.